Have you asked ChatGPT a question? Just a straight question with no context? Often gives you a bit of a nonsense answer, really. And in fact, it's one of the things the AI doubters use most often. Of like, oh, I asked ChatGPT this question, it didn't know anything about me, as if it's an all-seeing, all-being, wondrous thing which knows everything in the universe. The answer is 42. Imagine you wanted a GPT that was just based on information that you gave it, only information you gave it, and not the trash that exists all over the internet. Well, today I'm going to show you a super easy way provided by Google that's going to let you do that. For the basis of today, we're going to use this exciting thing. Plug coming up. This is a book which I wrote in the process of learning to write a couple of years ago. It's called The Red, White and Blueprint, and it's a guide to the USA for UK immigrants. I have the manuscript of that, which I'm going to load into Google LM, and that is going to become the background knowledge, and we're going to be able to do all the ChatGPT things, but its knowledge base will be just my book. Let's see how that goes. Let's see how that goes. So here we are in Notebook LM. So to start with, I've saved you this bit, asked you to upload any documents. I've uploaded the red, white, and blueprint. You can see there, which is the manuscript for my book, 60,000 words of it. A labor of love, if you will. You can upload way more than one document. So if you're a business, you could upload all of your standard operating procedures, all of your annual reports, all of your board reports, all of your strategies documents, everything, all your standard operating procedures you could upload and make whatever you want the knowledge base. For the purpose of this, to keep it simple, I've uploaded my manuscript. And you'll see here it's already come up with a nice summary about the book, what it's about, who it's for, and it suggests some questions that we might ask to the book. So I'll come back to that in a minute because I know everything in there. So I'll ask it some interesting questions. But there's some pre-loaded things here. Table of contents I don't need. I already have one of those. Study guide. So maybe my dream comes true and it becomes mandatory learning for every kid in every classroom across America to study this book as part of their English class. So what might a study guide look like? So I'll press that there. That will generate. And here we go. Here's the study guide. Each of the chapters here, and then some suggested essay questions for the kids to prove they've read the book. What unforeseen role did the author find himself thrust into? Describe two ingrained cultural differences the author observed. Um, what historical event marked a turning point in US-UK relations? Interesting. All this stuff is covered. How does American humor differ from British humor, according to the author? So those are really cool things. That would be excellent for an English literature study guide, or just to make sure that someone had read my book if I was meeting them and they said they had. So next we're going to ask some questions. Um, Let's try how good are the fish and chips in the USA? Oh, it's a challenge. Oh, it's hard to find good fish and chips in the US. And then some quotes from me here. Yeah, side of coleslaw, always you're with the coleslaw. Um, yeah, it's tough and there's nothing like back home for this, unfortunately. So, America, if so, let me know. I'm gonna open this notebook again to show you the coolest thing of all, which is this audio summary here, which I thought would just be a read out version of that, but no, I thought it was 14 minutes and 24. I'm giving you a play and just listen to how spectacular this is.
Ever get a kick out of those moments where someone's totally lost in translation, between cultures? It's hilarious. Get ready, because today we're taking a deep dive into one immigrant's really funny and surprisingly insightful look at what it's like living in America. We're diving into The Red, White, and Blueprints, a manuscript by Graham Crawford. He moved here from the UK, and basically he turned all the things he had to adjust to culturally into this must-read guide. And what's so fun is it's not just like a boring list of what to do and what not to do. He gets into those kind of awkward, embarrassing moments. Like, have you ever tried to explain British humor to someone from America? I can only imagine. Apparently, trying to explain taking the piss just doesn't translate. It's a disaster waiting to happen. Right. Yeah.
So, what it's actually made is a two-person podcast where they're having a discussion about the book with full knowledge of the book, and already made me laugh once. But I'll press play and we can skip through this.
The American healthcare system. So, And let me tell you, he doesn't try to sugarcoat it.
No, I don't think anyone could.
He actually calls it a labyrinth of bewildering complexity, which honestly is pretty spot on.
So this conversation continues for 14 minutes and could actually be uploaded as a podcast. Kind of incredible stuff here. So for one last thing, I'm going to check the briefing doc, see what that does. So here we have the briefing doc. Just an overall, a nice summary of each chapter. So if you were wanting to come in and pretend that you read the book, this would be a good Cliff Notes version of the book, perhaps. We're gonna ask one more question, like, what are some words that are different in the US? See what we come up with here. The things that trip me up all the time. They get me called American in the UK and get me called UK and British in America. Never fit in anywhere anymore. Here we go. Boot and trunk, biscuit and cookie, flat and apartment, lift and elevator. Oh, I've got them all, I tell you. So that's a funny. Oh, coriander and cilantro, one of my favorite ones, is about cooking. So there you go. It's got in-depth knowledge about my book, and it can answer any question you like about the differences between the UK and the US, based on my knowledge, only in my experiences, not sullied by anywhere else on the internet that might have a controversial or different view. So imagine you were a real author and you had more than just one fun book and you had a whole series. You could upload the whole book. Game of Thrones, for example, springs to mind. You could upload the whole book and then have an LLM that's an expert in Game of Thrones. You could ask it any GOT question that you like or desire, and it would have the answers for you, your very own Game of Thrones expert. Or to switch it to a business context, imagine you're a complex business with a lot of really complex procedures. Imagine you have a leader, a founder, a CEO that's really specific and precise about how he would like everything done, and he's very well documented, but people just don't read those documents. Wouldn't it be easier to have an LLM that they could interact with? Employees could ask a question, get whatever answer they wanted, and be sure that it was from the authoritative source, because the only thing in the back end of this GPT, or large language model in this case, is the information that you put into it. So you have full control over everything that goes in, and therefore full control over the answers that come out of it. Obviously, it's fairly limited, and if you're asking it questions outside of its realm of knowledge, it's going to tell you it doesn't know. Or worst case, it will guess and come up with some hallucinations. So just something to watch for around the edge cases on that. But as long as you're appropriate in the questions that you ask it within the context you've given it, this is a pretty cool tool and a little more accessible than putting together a custom GPT in ChatGPT. So there we are. That's today's video on Notebook LM by Google and how you can create your own custom large language model with information that you choose and upload with a load of cool things that you can do with it once it's up there. Okay, thanks for watching. Click below to like and or subscribe if you want more ideas for how you can use AI to supercharge your business.